That, when I started this, it was back, I want to say in possibly 2004, maybe. I decided that I wanted to, I decided that I heard something on the radio called Miss Black California. And so when I decided I'm going to try it, I'm going to try Miss Black California, you know. Long story short, tried it, went through the pageantry, went through the whole spill. My platform was mentoring and reaching out to teenage girls. I was that teenager who needed some stability, who needed some guidance. I don't want to say parenting because, like I said, my mother was always a parent. She always geared me and gave me some good advice, even though her life wasn't parallel to it. She always was a good parent, and so I needed guidance, I needed structure, I needed stability. And it wasn't, by any means that she didn't want to be there. Sometimes we don't know what's happening in these students, in these, our youth. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. Because me going to high school, nobody knew what I was going through behind closed doors. Because I would go to school with a smile on my face. I had somehow, here and there, I had the latest outfits if it was from, my mother purchasing them. Because by the time I got in high school, she has been clean. She's been clean since I was in the 6th grade. Okay. She has been clean. So, and then we can get more into that. But, she was purchasing my clothes, but then also she got sick. So after she was clean in the 6th grade, 7th grade, she was diagnosed with a lifetime illness called sarcoidosis. And so that attacks every organ. So everything that you can think of, heart disease, lung disease, kidney failure, arthritis, everything attacked her body at once. And so she's been sick since I was in the 7th grade. So we went through the portion of her being addicted to drugs to, okay, now she's clean, but guess what? Now this is going to happen. Another thing I guess that was more capacity building. Yeah. And so when it gets back to who was this geared to, I knew that I was that high school student who had to put on that face. I knew everybody. I was somewhat popular. I played ball to the point where I was captain of my basketball team. So you have to have that facade. Everything's good. Everything's good at home. You got to fit in. I was not good. Things were not good at home. For one thing, we were almost poor because my mother was on disability. And then on top of that, she was on disability. She was sick. You know what I mean? I went home to basically a crisis every day, whether her heart was being attacked or she was in the hospital where I was up all night at the emergency room with her. There was always a series of events that was going on out of my control. And so, but then I still had to go to school. I still had to get good grades. I still had to play basketball. I threw everything into basketball. I was that kid from, 8th grade all the way up through high school where basketball was pretty much what took me away from everything else, my world. I would play basketball until the street lights came on. The problem with that is, again, the reason I knew God had a plan for me is because basketball games in high school ended like 10 o'clock at night. I didn't have no ride coming home. I lived way on the south side of the city. School was on north side. Guess what I was doing at night that people didn't know about? Booking it home. Running and praying at the same time. Don't let me get snatched or raped while I'm going through this dark alley. So all of these instances are just God saying, it's okay, I got a plan for you.
What school did you go to?
I went to Pomona High School.
So you're running from the north side of Pomona High down to the south side of Pomona?
Past Gary High. Past Monterey, all the way down there, deep south. Okay? Different gang hoods, drug addicts, crackheads, drug dealers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Pimps and the hoes.
All of them. Hope. You know what I mean? I'm booking it. My whole routine was practice over, strap up, hood, sweatshirt, sweats, tie my shoes tight, strap my backpack tight, look around. All right, God. Booking it home. People didn't know that. People didn't know I was booking it home at night, you know. And then my aunt eventually moved closer to the school, and so I stayed with her. You know, she was actually a friend of the family who, you know, became an aunt, but she, I eventually started to stay with her and go to her house at some point, but most cases, booking it home at night. And so then I would book it home, and sometimes there's food, sometimes there's not. Mom was sick. Maybe she's in the hospital that day. Maybe when I get home, oh, mom's in the emergency room. Congestive heart failure, or the list goes on. And so that's where my stand came from when I decided to do Miss Back California. We had to have like a stand. We had to have something that we were standing for. And that was the only thing that I could think of at the time, was that our youth need some support, because we don't know what they're going through at home. We don't know, you know, what their needs are, because no one's going to speak up, just like me. It was a facade. It was a smile on my face every day at school. Everything's good, you know, gotta look good, gotta fit in, gotta do this. And so, you know, I've seen a lot of things, and what our youth is dealing with. I've seen battery, you know, I've seen drugs, I've seen being hungry, I've seen alcoholism, you know, I've seen it all. And so my audience is our youth. For one thing, it starts at young girls, but then I said, hey, I have friends of mine who can mentor, you know, these guys, you know, you being one of them, you being one of my closest friends with, like, my brother, and then, you know, all the way through Red Breed training and other individuals who have been through certain things. So my stand is young women, but then it's also whatever God puts me in front of, because I don't know who's my story for. I remember I had this nonprofit asked me to come and speak. They knew that I spoke to teenage girls. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to speak to teenage girls. A group of girls, what I was told. I walk in. I'm 26 at the time. 27, 25, 26 at the time. I walk in, and it's women who's probably like 30 or 40. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm young, I'm intimidated at this point, because they probably looking at me like, who is this young girl coming in here to talk to me? I had to, give me a minute. You know, like, hold on. Let me go talk to my dad real quick. Like I said, I was that disobedient kid. Dad, what's up? Really, God? You know what I mean? Like, really? What am I supposed to do? Like, you got me doing this? Are you telling me this is what I'm supposed to do right now? Suck it up is what he said. And so I sucked it up, and I went out there and I did my thing. I came from the heart. You know what I mean? I let them know the things that I've been through and what changed my life. You already know my topic is education. That is the only thing that was my one-way ticket. I ain't have no way back. It was either going to work or it wasn't. Education was my ticket. I had to get up out of poverty. And so those are the things that I share with these women. And my stories touch these women. Mm-hmm. My stories change these women's lives. I mean, they were coming up to me, thanking me, you know, for sharing and opening up and letting them know where I came from, and showing them that I'm not here to judge. I am here to encourage. I'm here to let you know that whatever it is that you're going through, so what? It ain't where you coming from. Trust me. If life was based off of where we came from, like I already told you where I would be right now. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll be that statistic. But, so when you say, who is Chase Your Throne for? I'm even being taught, you know, as this is even manifesting in me as we're talking, that Chase Your Throne is for those who need it. Whoever God puts me in front of. Yes, my gear is towards our youth because they need it the most. But if God says, no, you need to come over here and talk to this group of individuals like he put me in front of before, I'm with it. Let's go. Judge me if you want, or you can learn from me, regardless of my age, regardless of, you know, my color, who I am. So
Okay. I think you covered most of those. Except for I don't know what this fifth question is. Your handwriting is terrible.
I'm sorry. It's come from taking notes in school.
What does that one say?
I said tell us about your childhood. We already talked about that.
No. Yeah, that's the bottom one. It says talk about your childhood. What the second to last one say?
Oh, what's my outlook on my struggles?
Okay.
So, I don't know what I didn't even know what that said at first. What's my outlook on my struggles? Like, what do you see it? What do you see as struggles?